And this one is in the net too. We really stuck it out, buddy.
This has never happened before. A huge, thick mirror carp.
Wow, a beast.
I very rarely, honestly, get excited about a bait, since by now, no single company can really show me anything truly amazing anymore, or product either. But this bait is honestly a real miracle bait right now. Every single one of our fish, without exception, we've caught with this soft pop-up boilie, whether it's a bream, a big carp, or a small carp. All are eager to eat it. The hook set perfectly, the rig works flawlessly, turning the hook right into the fish's mouth. It can't escape. I think this one is close to 20 kilos.
Agreed.
It's a very heavy, thick fish with a thick rounded head, relatively short whiskers, and a huge prominent belly.
Yes.
I promised to show you the rig I used very successfully for big carp on the Danube. I use it extremely successfully when offering soft pop-up boilies. The main point of this rig is that even in river conditions, it guarantees tangle-free fishing, while also ensuring a perfect hook set. Let's go through step by step how to make this. I'll start by tying the hook, or more precisely by preparing the hair rig on it, for which I use a quarter crank size 6 hook. For this I use a 0.2 mm stone braided hook link. This is what has worked best for me. You need to tie a small loop at the end here. After threading the line through the eye of the hook, make sure that this end loop is as small as possible, the smallest you can tie by hand. Like this. I secure it further with a knot puller, tightening it to make sure the knot holds. At this point, I cut off the excess piece of line, so now we have a hair rig section with a small end loop. The length of the hair rig to be tied should be at most 1.5 centimeters. I'll place the line with the end loop here. Then I begin the process of carefully wrapping it up, making sure that every part is covered evenly and securely so that it stays protected and in place. I continue until the previously mentioned hair rig length is properly maintained. I carefully wrap the braided line all the way to the middle of the hook, making sure it's secure, and this is how I get the desired length. I compress these wraps a bit with my fingernail, then I make 1 to 3 turns back in the opposite direction, and finally thread the line back through from the opposite side. I pull this tight, securing the wraps like this, leaving about 2 centimeters. I cut it off. I fold it back parallel to the hook, and now comes the 20-pound quarter IQ fluorocarbon, which is a very stiff line. I unwind a 10-15 centimeter piece from it. I carefully thread this through the eye of the hook from the back, and then I slowly begin to take hold of the braided line, and holding the braided line and the fluorocarbon leader parallel to each other, I start wrapping. I've made 1 turn, then 2 turns, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and finally 8 turns in total. Again, I carefully tighten the knot. I cut the line, then once again thread it through from the back part of the hook, and I pull it tight really thoroughly. If we can't pull it tight enough by hand, then we should use a tool to help, and in this way, arranging the coils neatly next to each other, pull it tight with force Now we need to remove the excess pieces of line, both the braided and the main fluorocarbon sections. That's done for now. As for the fluorocarbon, I cut it here. So the hook is basically already tied with the braided hair rig that provides the desired soft and delicate movement. Now I need two more small accessories, a 0.6 mm diameter crimp and a large-eyed swivel. In total, you need 3 of these crimps, but you'll soon see where the other 2 will go. First, you need to carefully thread the crimp onto the piece of line. Next is the large-eyed swivel, and it's important that you carefully thread the line through the large ring of the swivel, making sure it's easy to get it through this part. Now, you need to insert the piece of line into the other free hole of the crimp. And before securing the crimp, you need to set the distance between the large-eyed swivel and the hook. This should be a maximum of 3 centimeters. The crimp needs to be closed. For this, you'll need a crimping plier, and you should use the size groove, the smallest groove, to place the crimp in. Once this is done, you need to crimp it down, press it together with full force, which will secure both strands of line. Cut off the excess, and the hardest part is already done. Now attach the Kodaikyu line again to the other end of the swivel, but this time make it longer. I need a piece about 30-40 centimeters long, since I'm fishing in a river, so the hook needs to be set a little farther away from the feeder, as we would do in stagnant water conditions. The line is attached to the swivel again using a crimp. This crimp also needs to be closed. It's important to use the S slot, that is the smallest groove for this. This allows you to close the crimp as tightly and securely as possible. See how nicely it's closed. At the other end of the line, I form a large loop, which I also secure with a crimp. This is where the third crimp is needed. As I mentioned, this piece of line should be 30, at most 40 centimeters long, but it really needs to be at least that. Experience has shown this. Here is this large end loop. The crimp is closed again, or the crimping pliers. The disadvantage of fluorocarbon lines is that they tend to stay curly and tangled like this. They don't stay taut. The leader doesn't straighten out. Its position isn't perfect, but this can be easily fixed. Another tool that has simply come into play is a tensioner. I hook the hook into this. I grab the end loop with 2 fingers and pull it as hard as I can. This also serves as a kind of braking test. If any of the crimps weren't secured properly, it's better for it to slip or break now. Slip and tear like the largest fish while toiled. If it can withstand this pulling force, then it will definitely hold up during fishing as well. While I was pulling on it, something interesting happened. The fluorocarbon line straightens out completely and smooths itself. Why am I so insistent on using this line? On one hand, it's invisible in the water. On the other, it's the most resistant and durable type of monofilament line. It is guaranteed to withstand the toughest conditions like this shell-covered terrain. It also resists abrasive effects and is stiff enough to always keep our hook link in the right position, ensuring tangle-free fishing even in flowing river water. To connect it to the main line and to the rig I use, I still need perhaps a rubber cone which I adjust to the desired size. I thread this onto a baiting needle, then I hook the loop at the end of the finished hook link into it. I slid the rubber cone on, and now the already prepared rig can be attached. Fitting it into the quick change snap at the end, then securing it with the rubber cone. Here is the complete end rig that I used to catch my most recent big Danube carp. During my last fishing trip, I used it with great success. As you can see, this is not a classic lead or feeder basket. Instead, it is a specially designed closed feeder called Alcatraz, whose main feature is it releases its contents slowly, so the bait or paste you put inside stays in it for a long time, or anything else that will wait for the fish arriving later. And as you can see, it is not fixed at the top. It is very important that if by chance we hook a fish that runs into snags or in any way breaks our rig, then it doesn't have to drag this heavy feeder along, because it will detach from the main line since it is not fixed. This rig and all of its components are tuned for soft pop-up boilies. I'll show you right away how it is attached to the hair rig and how it behaves in the water. Sweet corn, mango and pineapple thieves are the 3 available flavors. Each one is extremely effective, so it's worth trying all of them. What makes baiting extremely easy is that every little ball has a hole, a bore, running right through the entire bait, right in the center. You can see how easily I was able to thread it onto the hair rig, so there's no need to fumble around in the aromatic liquid. And this hole not only helps with taking it out of the box, but also with threading it onto the hair rig and then securing it there. After I've threaded it on, I take hold of the hair rig, pick up a stopper, thread it through, and that's it. It can be secured extremely quickly. It's important to use a V-shaped stopper which prevents the bait from slipping off, or if the fish are nibbling at it, it won't accidentally slide off. There's no need for a longer hair rig. You don't have to let it hang farther from the hook, so when the fish sucks it in, the hooking is perfect. This is a highly buoyant bait, and together with the hook, it would easily lift up the entire hook link if it weren't for this large swivel acting as a counterweight. But this holds it in place, anchors it to the bottom, and stabilizes the bait, and also allows it to move freely in all directions without getting tangled or twisted. This is very important when fishing in rivers. With this rig and this baiting method, we can sit by the water in peace of mind, knowing with 100% certainty that our rig is always in the perfect position